So I'm getting ready to get ready for work. But I thought I would do a stream right quick, basically talking about what's going on um, with, you know, the Haitians, uh, the Haitian immigrants, and how they're being treated and how they're being, round up by, Biden's race soldier state troopers. Now, if you look at this picture, I think this is somewhere in Texas. And as you can see, these guys have whips and they're whipping them as if they're slaves. Keep in mind, the police, how they was formed, they was originally called the Slave Patrol. Basically, they would capture slaves and return them to their owners or plantation, but not before they would beat them and torture them. And as you guys can see, this is on Jim Crow Joe's watch. And as usual, the black politicians and the people that voted for him won't say anything. But then you have people that got YouTube channels and come on chat lines hollering about how they got Haitian in them. I got, Haitian in me on my grandfather's side. My grandfather was full blown Haitian. So to a certain degree, this bothers me. Ain't nobody saying nothing. But shout out to Vicky Dillard. Ain't nobody saying nothing. And I gotta ask some of these, and I'm trying not to say their names, but I have to call out some of these YouTubers for not speaking on Joe Biden's racism. But throughout Trump's presidency, you had people constantly speaking out on Trump's racism, but Joe Biden's racism is not even hidden. It's just flat out there. But you won't have people call Joe Biden out on his blatant racism and his policies, his mandates. And you know who these guys are. This is why I've been saying a lot of people have been exposed during this stuff, during the pandemic and the lockdowns and now the mandates and this kind of stuff. A lot of these dudes ain't B1 like they pretend to be. I mean, this is horrible. You have these people actually being whipped. Oh, it ain't just about Roro. It's other people on here too, who've been on here for a while, who was hollering about they voted for Biden because they thought Trump was dangerous. Oh, okay. So you don't think JoJo Biden? You don't think Jim Crow Joe is dangerous? He's shown that he's possibly twice as dangerous as the other guy. Do you not understand something with these mandates and all this stuff? Do you know this is flat out segregation and bigotry by trying to lock American citizens out of businesses and movie theaters, public places they have a right to be because they don't want to follow the orders of basically a man who's now became a full-fledged dictator. We shouldn't be talking about racism and bigotry and all this kind of stuff and being a free country when you got a president that's trying to mandate practicing bigotry and discrimination and segregation among people who said, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable putting something in my body that I don't know enough about or I just don't want to do it." So I don't want to hear people talk about racism and bigotry and segregation and all that kind of stuff and and we're in this together because if we was in this together, you would respect people's decision not to put that shit in their body. It shouldn't be a problem. If you went and did it, fine. If you don't want to do it, fine. Do you not see the hypocrisy in Jim Crow Joe and the people that support him? That's just all I'm saying. But this is disgusting. These are Haitians. They're literally being whipped. Ain't nobody said nothing. Is anybody going to say something? Is anybody going to call JoJo Biden now? Because I promise you, if that was Trump, you would have these, you would have these dummies hollering about how racist he is and how he's allowing this and how allowing that. But that's always been the theme with black people and how they've been easily swayed and easily manipulated by the dummies and by the in the Democrats. Like I said before, Democrats love to tell you, they love to tell you not to vote Republican, but they never explain to you why you should vote Democrat. And like I said, this is going on right before our eyes. Now it's funny that Jim Crow Joe, he'll allow Hispanics to come in here. He will allow Afghanis to come here, but he don't want blacks to come here. He don't want Haitian blacks to come here. Oh, he want to send them back. And that's all I'm saying. So why ain't Cam Camden said anything? She's supposed to be one of us. Why hasn't she spoke on this? Why haven't these black celebrities that was sitting up here campaigning for Jim Crow Joe and Kamala Harris said anything? But then they quick to holler about they be one. Why ain't Obama said something about this? How these Haitians are being treated because they following the script. Is anybody gonna say something? Is anybody gonna call Jim Crow Joe out? Is anybody? Anybody? Is that what we doing now? So let me get this straight. Zip your lips when it comes to Jim Crow Joe, but call Trump out. I promise you, if this, and I'm not no Trump supporter by any means necessary, but I'm just saying, call this shit right down the line. Call this right down the line. Yeah, exactly. But you had Jada Pinkett Smith telling black people to leave Asians alone, which, by the way, like I kept saying, the FBI came with the statistics, the real statistics, and they said it's not even close. They even called Cap and said that Asians are not being harassed and bullied and attacked to the levels that blacks still have been and will continue to be. That's already that shit has already been exposed. That's already been exposed. Yeah, exactly. You had all these black celebrities telling us, "Hey, we're in this together. Hey, stop attacking Asians." Nobody wasn't attacking them. Cause like I said, I don't be thinking about them. And most of us wasn't. In most cases, if there's a incident between a black and an Asian, a lot of times, from what I see, the Asian usually is the one that starts it. I'm from California. I can assure you, we don't be thinking about them. When I see them, I don't think about them. The only time I make contact or communication with them, if they say something to me, if I got a question concerning something going on, if I'm at a store or a restaurant and I got questions, that's the only time I make communication with them. Like I said, nobody don't be thinking about them. They be more worried about us than we worried about them. They be worried about, basically they be more worried about how they can continue to culture vulture us and swagger jack us and profit off of us. That's why they be more worried about us than we be worried about them. I knew it was bullshit, and I told y'all it was bullshit. I told y'all from the gate. And even they came out, even they had came out and said, hey man, I had them come on my channel and say they y'all seen some of them say, hey town, it's cap. It's cap. It was nothing but a diversion tactic, basically to keep us from talking about reparations among and police brutality and systematic racism. It was a diversion. I can assure you that the Asians are walking around freely without anybody thinking about them. Just like they tried to pull that shit in New York, where they tried to make it look like a black dude when he had to put hands on an Asian. They tried to make it look like it was a hate crime, and then the Asian dude even admitted to the police that, well, the black dude didn't call me any racial slurs, and I kind of started it. Nah, they ain't go. Al, man, I've been telling y'all about Al Sharpton. I've been telling you. I've been on game to Al Sharpton for years. Al Sharpton ain't nothing more than an opportunist. First of all, I don't trust no I don't trust no nigga that got caught on video trying to buy some weight. I've been hip to Al Sharpton. And like I said, this whole caping for the aged community was just a political move. And like I said before, Danny Glover know being in the Bay Area, being a Bay Area native, like I said, there's never been no real issues between blacks and Asians. They stay in their lane, we stay in ours. But then I was boycotting a lot of establishments because they was lying on black people. And then you had black people not saying nothing. And this is what I mean. You get these black people that you get these black people that go on TV and try to say, hey man, just say something. You know, they doing it because they want Asian dollars. These actors, these celebrities and stuff, they say this because if they put out a movie, they want Asians to come to their movies and shit, which they ain't gonna come anyway, for the most part. Asians hardly ever go, you know, as a guy that frequently goes to the movies, Asians don't hardly ever go see movies that feature black people. They just don't. They do it possibly, you know, they do it for the money. And it's just that simple. I'm just gonna simplify it. They do it for the money, they do it for fake notoriety. Cause like I said before, Jada Pinkett full of shit anyway. When she was sitting up there talking about she was horrified when she saw Snoop Dogg, when she saw Snoop Dogg calling Gail a bitch. And come on, this is the same Jada Pinkett that said she didn't listen to she didn't listen to Will Smith music because she thought he was corny. She said she listened to gangster rap. So if you listen to gangster rap, you heard dudes saying the stuff that Snoop Dogg was saying. So how could you sit up there and say that you was horrified? She was just as fake as that. She was just as fake as that bitch, Rochelle Ritchie, that tried to come on Kevin Samuel's outlet, trying to chastise him about talking to that other chick, you know, trying to come on there and chastise that man on his outlet. And Kevin Samuels checked her ass. Talked about I was shocked when I saw. Well, what are you talking about? But this the same Rochelle Ritchie that didn't say nothing when Simone Sanders what she said about black men. She didn't have nothing to say. Didn't have nothing to say what Cardi B said about admitting to robbing and drugging black men. So I'm just saying, a lot of these women on here, they full of shit. So I'm just keeping it a buck. Trying to come on that man's outlet and try to chastise him about how he posed to talk to somebody. But then she don't tell them white motherfuckers how to talk to black women. So get out of here, man. Get your ass out of here. And ain't none of them said nothing about what Joe Biden is allowed. This is you can look this up. This is available information. We know mainstream media ain't gonna talk about it. We know that CNN ain't gonna talk about it. We know Fox ain't gonna talk about it. We know MSNBC ain't gonna talk about it. And if they do talk about it, they gonna do a quick walkthrough. Exactly. Exactly. So people need to. So just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. But like I said, is somebody gonna say nothing? Is somebody gonna say something, please? Is somebody gonna call? You know what I'm saying? Is somebody gonna call Jim Crow Joe out? Somebody gonna say something? Well, Kevin Samuels ain't what you call a political figure, so I kind of don't expect him to do it because that ain't his that ain't really his territory. I mean, it would help. It would help, but I'm more so calling out the dudes that always be hollering that B1 shit. He do have a big platform, and I do think he should say something, but politics ain't his thing. I think to a certain degree, everybody should, get out of their comfort zone. I've continued to speak on these issues since I've been on YouTube, and I will continue to speak on it. Even though YouTube has went out of their way to harass me, try to silence me, try to muzzle me, I will still continue to speak on these issues. But I'm talking about this is more so aimed at the guys like, you know, you know, Roro and a couple of other people. Because, like I said, I remember tons of videos about certain guys on here calling out uh, Donald Trump's racism, but has but since some of these dudes voted for Biden, they won't call out Biden's blatant history of racism. And then the thing is, people will say, "Well, Joe Biden apologized." Oh yeah, he didn't apologize till he ran for president. He didn't apologize after he first did it. So let me get this straight. You only apologized because you was running for president. That don't work with me. Because if you was truly sorry, you would apologize after it happened. Or you would have waited, or you wouldn't have waited till you ran for president. Oh well, and then when he tried to explain what he told his people to do, then once again he tried to talk that jive nigga shit to us. No, what I meant to happen. No, you knew what would happen. You knew what would happen. You knew who they was gonna go after. You knew who it was aimed at. You knew who those crime bills were designed for. You knew who they would target. And then, like I said, you try to have your Negro whisperers who will try to cap for this dude and think that they can speak to us on his behalf. We're not listening to them no more. Like I said, Simone Sanders got passed up for a job that she was damn near begging for, that he gave to a white woman. He gave to a white woman. I mean, is there any black people with a backbone? Is there any black people that's gonna stand up to this dude and say, "Hey, man, why are you allowing this to happen?" And I promise you, when you call them out, they're gonna come with the double talk. Well, in this particular case, like I said, oh well, the Afghanistan, it was a more important. It was state of emergency. But first of all, those Afghanistans are way across the water. Hades is a lot closer to the United States than Afghanistan. But we all know why that is, because those Haitians have a lot of melanin in them. And see, the thing is, if he allowed those Haitians to come in here, well, that betters our numbers. Y'all have to understand what they trying to do by letting these non-blacks come in here. They're, basically trying to flood us out, and it's being did on purpose. And at the same time, they trying to soften us up by endorsing, guys like Russell Westbrook and James Harden and Ibaka wearing dresses and shit. So they doing it all at once, emasculating us, harassing us, shaming us, and then trying to basically not include us. So at the end of the day, they gonna fix it to where they don't need the black vote. Y'all have to figure this out. This is easy. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, God rest her soul, she predicted this was gonna happen. I predicted that this was gonna happen. I told y'all back in 2016 that they was gonna do this. That they were going to heavily come after black men, and that they were going to try to shame us and harass us. See, now what you got going on, besides the obvious thing with the mandates and this kind of stuff, this is what you call straight shaming. Okay? I'll give you another example. The heterosexual rappers back in the day said, hey, we not responsible for raising your kids and all that kind of stuff. That ain't our job. But you had people constantly coming after the rappers saying you guys are role models, that you guys are responsible for, the youth and all that kind of stuff, and how black men are perceived and all this kind of stuff. And you're that's your responsibility. Typical white people telling black people what to do, how to be black, telling us what to do with our bodies and all that kind of shit. But like I said, when we ask for something, they ignore us. But now it's kind of funny. Little Nas X flat out comes out and says, "Fuck your kids." It ain't his job. But then they're targeting him and promoting him to the youth. And then he says, "Fuck your kids." But then he don't get canceled. He don't get canceled. But then you had the Democratic Party trying to cancel Ice Cube for having a meeting over the phone with Donald Trump. You have Don Lemon orchestrating and practicing flat out, clear and cut hate speech and bigotry and discrimination against people that really chose not to participate. And he's really aiming at towards black people. But nobody's went after him. Nobody's went after him. Nobody's went after Little Nas X. Nobody said, how could they say something like that? I think saying fuck your kids is worse than saying Gail King is a bitch. But you don't see none of these media outlets coming after him. So there you have it. Easy as night and day. Easy as night and day. Nah, they ain't doing that to like I said, they only do this stuff to us. They only do this stuff to us. Like I said before, um, the NBA players, I'm turning it, for real. I'm looking at them sideways. A lot of these dudes, they just selling out black masculinity. Like I said, what's going on is straight shaming. It's not being homophobic because the real people that's have a phobia is the gay community. They have a phobia against heterosexual black men. The biggest threat to society is the heterosexual alpha black man. So they got to do whatever it takes to contain him. So that's all I'm saying. No backlash for Little Nas X for saying fuck your kids. At the end of the day, it's gonna get to the point we gonna have to say, you know what, we don't care what you think. When we stop having to explain ourselves to everybody, the better off we gonna be. When a white person say, hey, you need to explain why you, no, we don't have to, and we're not. When they start, like, when they start asking us, oh, why do you do this, why do you do that, like, we don't owe you an explanation. We never did. The problem with black people is always feeling like they have to explain stuff to people and give them an explanation. Nobody feels like they have to explain anything to us. They just tell us to shut up. Don't question them. Don't ask them nothing. Why you think they freak out so bad when black people say, hey man, before I participate, before I get juiced up, I want to do my own research. That's why they get so enraged. Because we ask questions. Because they have this mentality, do as I say, because I'm white and I say so. But yeah, this is your guy. This is your guy who's clearly practicing that mentality because I'm white and I say so. Jojo Biden. But I'm just wondering why won't nobody call him out? When somebody gonna say something to him? The problem is with him, he know he can hide behind his black cronies that think that they can talk to us on behalf of him. But at the end of the day, we have to tune them out too and be like, you know what, fuck y'all. We don't care what you think neither. No, we want him to answer this question. Why are you allowing other people to come in here and giving them asylum and helping them out, but then you don't want to help uh, the people that's already here that happen to look like me, or you want the Haitians to go back, but you trying to make sure they go back because you don't want us to have strength in numbers because they scared that we may get to them. As long as we continue to be silent, everything is okay. And I'm not gonna be silent no more because, like I told y'all before, the past couple of weeks, I done found out what people really all about. We can't stand in unity to save our lives. As I said before, when it came to the juice, if you went and got your got your juice, that's fine. But the bottom line is we should be on one united front. Like, hey, I did it, but I don't feel like the other guy have to do it because I did it. See, what they're doing is, hey, you went and got it, so tell everybody else to do it. This has just been one sided. And you have these clowns coming on here like trying to shame you and doing the white man's bidding. That's just real talk. But they talking that B1 shit. Like I said, up to up to the the juice coming out and up to the pandemic, you was anti-establishment, you was pro-black, you was against the machine, you was fighting against the machine. You didn't believe anything that was being told to you. You was hollering about everything was a conspiracy, everything was a plot against the black man until until the pandemic started. And then they told you that you needed to get juiced up to live or possibly better your chances of continuing to live. So all of a sudden, you start to believe everything they tell you. All of a sudden, you on board. All of a sudden, you trust the very person that you said was your enemy. Like I said, these niggas is fake. But once again, we all know, and none of us have disputed that this thing isn't real, that it isn't a problem. You have to understand, to implement new policies, like I said, you got to have casualties. Just like how many of us believe how they targeted us with AIDS and HIV, I think they didn't, I think they didn't have the data that was going to let them know at the time there were so many people screwing around with each other. Because I do think that the disease was meant to target, gay black men, once again, as a form of population control. But then when they started catching that shit, then all of a sudden, okay, this could be a problem. Just like I think they didn't estimate, or they underestimated how many people like us would be asking questions. And I think they was underestimating how many people that didn't look like us was going to ask questions too. Like, hey man, what's in this shit? That's how it always has been with politics and politicians. Just do what we say. Don't question us. Nah, that's not going to work for me. It's not going to work for me. Period. Point blank. But yeah, when is somebody going to call out JoJo for this? Those people are on horses with whips. I mean, it looked like Charlton Heston from the first Planet of the Apes. Is you kidding me? Whips? They got whips. Now let's see who gonna come to the forefront. Let's see who gonna say something. And I ain't talking about these dudes with these small channels. I wanna know is the people with the bigger platforms gonna say something. The people, like I said, that always was hollering about how everybody was racist and all this kind of stuff, and hollering about Trump's racism, but they voted for Joe Biden. So is you gonna call out Joe Biden's racism? I don't want to hear that shit that he apologized. He only apologized because he was running for president. And he didn't mean it. Black people quick to holler about, oh, well, he apologized. I don't give a fuck. Fuck his apology. Do you know how much damage he done over the years? Over a 30-year period with his policies? Him, Billy Clinton. Now keep in mind, these are Democrats. The so-called people that are supposed to be for us. For the working class. But they've done more things to us, or just as many things to us as the Republicans. Truth hurts. Truth hurts. Has he done anything about police brutality? No. This dude was saying if it was up to him, he would have more police. Him and Cam. So I'm just saying. Now I can't really speak on the student loan thing because, like, that's out of my element because that's But at the end of the day, what about the people who don't? What about the people who didn't get student loans? What about the black farmers? Yeah, he ain't released. Yeah, exactly. How the hell you get 45 for real? How do you get 45 years for an ounce of crack? But then if you have an ounce of cocaine, you get a drug diversion program. But we know why that is, because cocaine is white. You know what I'm saying? And when you cook crack, it turns to a yellowish color or a brownish color, depending on how depending on your cooking skills, or if you try to bounce it. So that's symbolism once again. Remember that cocaine is white. I mean bars. I mean this is just too easy. This is just too easy. We need to start asking more questions. We need to start making these phone calls, going down there, asking these questions. I mean, this man then told lie after lie. Remember, he said, "Hey, man, I wasn't gonna try to mandate getting the juice." Well, he's trying to mandate it, this man is allowing flat out bigotry and discrimination and imposing hatred. So, this was easy. So, I mean, I hope y'all see the light in this. Like I say, continue to be vocal, man. Continue to speak out, and it's time to call out these black content creators that basically constantly speak on racism and politics. Call him out. Don't matter whether you voted for him or not. Call this motherfucker out, man. Anyway, man, thank y'all for tapping in. I got to get ready for work.